What is your opinions about the New York regulation proposal?
The bit license regulation that was just published June 4th, 2015, is an interesting document because it actually did take into account the comments, especially here in the US. And what it does, from my point of view, because I am a certified anti-money laundering specialist, and I've studied the different legislation that deals with money laundering and with money service businesses, it basically puts Bitcoin businesses that exchange value between third parties on the same level as money exchanges, regular ones, banks and such. The regulation is there because we have people who've committed fraud, who've lied, who've done all sorts of things, and the law says that New York State and the federal government has to protect consumers. The dream that some cryptocurrency enthusiasts had of being unregulated still exists in some places in the world where the governments have decided not to regulate it. But New York State decided that it couldn't do this because New York has too many people, too many businesses, and in New York State's experience, I mean, Brooklyn Bridge gets sold regularly. And for those of you that don't know the joke, it's just that in New York City, when you go to Brooklyn, somebody will offer to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. And you can't buy it, but some people pay for it anyway. It's sad that we need regulations, but in this modern society, that's part of the cost of doing business. The European Union has put in some new regulations, and worldwide, we have to follow the guidelines that exist in transferring value from one person to another, especially when you're crossing international borders, which cryptocurrency does so well. And the other thing with regulation, even though we're going beyond the bit license part, working within the US, we don't have problem with losing money overseas. But in some countries, Ecuador, for example, forbade Bitcoin. But they did it because they were losing dollars. And they're having a problem with their economy. And from their point of view, Bitcoin was like a very expensive imported good that was just sucking dollars out of Ecuador. So, speaking with their Secretary of State, Canciller, what he told me was, listen, we just can't deal with this expense. It's an import because the money goes out of the country. It's luxury because only people with lots of money are getting involved. So we forbade it. As we develop as an industry, we're going to find these situations, we're going to find new regulations facing us, and all we'll do is evolve. The community will find answers, because the great thing about cryptocurrency is, as I've said before, it's global. The only thing New York State can say is, when you're dealing with New York State residents, these are the rules. Or if you're a New York State business. But New York State legislation has nothing to do with Asia, with Africa, South America, the rest of the world. It only has to do with New York State. It is expected, though, that New York State legislation will be used to design legislation in other states. And New York State likes being the first, so they are. Are the rules outrageous? I don't think they're outrageous. I am surprised that they put more years of record keeping for cryptocurrency businesses than for regular money service businesses, but I understand that. The other thing is they do not allow Bitcoin exchanges to use agents. It's kind of logical if you're working on the internet, everybody deals with you. But for regular banks and money service businesses, agents has a long history of existence. But I'm getting technical, and that's not the idea of this interview.